Well, I can say this. Well, it's two sides to this. We got the side to how the administration came out, and then you had the sides to how the inmates came. Well, as far as like the administration, they opened up avenues for him. They acknowledge his celebrity in a way that I never seen before. Like they allowed him to throw a concert inside the gym.
Our Prison Stories 101. We are back once again with another, again, one of these conversations that I feel like it needs to be heard. Yatta, welcome.
How you doing, man?
Man, doing all right. First and foremost, I want to say, man, thank you so much again for coming on the platform. Prior, again, we do this Prison Stories. A lot of the
Okay.
conversations that we get are, Texas based. So to get a guy who was on the East Coast who did as much time as you served, first and foremost, I want to say thank you. And also thank you for coming back on.
Nah, I appreciate you for giving me the opportunity to be heard, man. I feel like ain't nobody in a better position to speak about it than I am.
Definitely. What we always like to do, before we get started, go ahead and reintroduce yourself. Tell them where you're from. Tell them how much time you served.
All right, my name King Yatta, man. And the feds and all over though, behind these walls, everybody know me by face. I'm from Virginia, from the Northern Virginia, from the DMV region. And I did 13 years straight in Virginia state system and all the high levels, and 11 years straight in the federal BOP at four different institutes.
Definitely. With that being said, the first thing, since your first interview that you done, I always try to, get an idea of what kind of feedback you've gotten over that interview as far as, people in the comments, people around you, family, friends, people that might have just noticed you in, somewhere out in the world or something. What kind of feedback have you gotten?
Well, most of the feedback I was getting was more so about appreciating that I did that, and a lot of people did. The ones who know me had no idea that I had went through the things that I went through, that I had those experiences, and I think it helped them understand me better, to understand the state that I'm in today, and outside of that, most wanted me to continue. They felt like they learned a lot, and there were certain sections inside there that they wanted me to elaborate on, and they felt that it was educational for them. So that's why I'm back.
No, definitely. I talk to a lot of people on this platform, and one thing that I've kind of heard over time is that once you get out of prison, you don't go through the stories and it's not a topic of conversation. The kind of stories that we're speaking on, you don't have with your girl, you don't have with your brothers, you don't have with your kids, you don't have with your cousins, your mama, your partners. Why is that? Why do you feel like the stories that you lived and experienced for those many years, over a decade, have to stay with you, or you don't have it in like simple conversation?
I think it's a multiple reasons. It's associated close to me with PTSD. Same way soldiers are when they come back from combat. Those experiences, they seem to be the same way. And I think that when the psychological things that you go through, and the way that you have to learn to conceal your emotions or to control your emotions, to the point that my emotions became irrelevant to me, became irrelevant, period. It wasn't valued by anyone else, and they just became not even valuable to me. And just talking, period, kind of lost its value. I just learned to speak when I can affect something. Just an idle conversation wasn't necessary anymore. So coming home and having people that's supposed to be close to you enough that you could open up, man, that take years. That take years, and you know what I mean. So it's just hard to do that with people that you got to relearn and know again.
That's real. What I'm gonna start doing, and what I've kind of been doing is, for people to, go through these stories that we're about to talk about, is to understand, your physical attributes. So if you don't mind, as far as the time that you were serving, whether from when you started to when you ended, somewhere in the middle, can you tell them, what height, what weight were you? And also, what was some of your strengths? What were some of your weaknesses when it comes to physicality or mentality?
Well, when I went in at 18. Um, I was like 160 pounds, 5'11", 160 pounds. Um, um, At some point when I was in the feds, I got all the way up to where my average weight was between 220 and 240. And since I've been home, I done dropped back down to about 185. You know what I mean? So when I went in there, I was a young man. I had that small frame. And then, once I got to the federal system, the economy allowed me to eat how I wanted to eat, work out. That's what I spent my time doing. I blew up. And, you get back on these streets, I'm back to ripping and running again. So, I done got back down to my original way to say.
Yeah. I was going to ask, how do you bulk up in prison? Like, what's the best way as far as food wise, as far as workout wise? How does one gain almost 40, 60 pounds in there?
Well, it was funny for me because when I left the jail, I had fought my case for 3 years. I was in like 6, 7 different jails fighting my case. And when I finally made it into the federal system, I went in about 180 pounds. And in that first spot at Gilman, I gained weight all the way up to 240. Just I think I was depressed and didn't know it. You know what I mean? I'm just sitting back, I'm eating good. I'm just sitting inside that cell. You don't do, I'm just eating good. And I'm eating straight out the locker. Like I don't go to the child hall. So everything that you can get out of that locker, all that shit is fat. Ain't none of it good for you. You know what I mean? So I had reached to the point where I was on 4 different medications strictly based upon my weight. You know what I mean? So that's when I took it serious and got back right, got back down to about 210. And at that point, I was off all 4 pills. You know what I mean? So most people gain weight just being depressed and sitting back and having nothing better to do but to eat.
Mm. All right. In that time, what would you say as far as what were some of your strengths physically? As far as was it your boxing game? What was your strength? Your left hook, your elbow?
Man, for me, my strength always has been I just always had heart. I'm just always was willing to take it to the extent that the next man ain't gonna take it to. So to me, the physicality, I've been learned that's irrelevant. You know what I mean? When dealing with certain man with the physical, that's irrelevant. It's about who gonna move first. So I was just confident in that I'm gonna get my man before he even recognizes a real problem.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. Yeah. Would you say you even had any weaknesses?
Yeah, we all got weaknesses. I'm saying, I'm an average fighter. I can fight, I can hold my own, but when you get behind that wall, man, shit. You got man, shit. You know what I mean? So you got this levels to this shit. You know what I mean? All that fighting shit and all that, I'm just not with that. And what other weaknesses? Shit, that's not even the weakness. I don't, nah, yeah. Nah.
Okay. Well, for this interview again, to touch back on the first interview you did, you told some stories in there. There was one story you told about, the magazines, as far as those who may not know how those magazines work. And the whole mental game as far as Yaseli, who took, the whole play. When you told that story, how often does stuff like that happen? I know it happened to you right off the bat. But how often does stuff like that happen, and how do people need to play situations like that?
Once again, it's a separation. Like in the federal system, it really never happens. But in the state system, in my state, that shit is prevalent. You know what I mean? It happened to me on my 3rd day into the system. And what I learned was that they was preying on people coming from my jail because we had a reputation of being the ones that could get those magazines. So they was trying everybody that came from my jail. You know what I mean? So it happens a lot, especially when you get, like I say, you get on a level 4 and above. You could count on that something like that may have occurred if you haven't already established what it is with
you. Okay. All right, well, let's get into the stories, man. There was a lot we left on the bone from the last interview, and I want to jump into some of those, man. I'm glad we kind of poked around your come up story, but let's get to some heavy hitting stuff, man. You was in the joint with a few names that are notable, and I'm gonna throw a few out and just kind of speak to it. But you did time with DMX.
Yeah, I did some time with Wax. Yeah.
Yeah. What y'all were in the same yard? Did y'all ever cross paths? What was it like when he's on the yard?
Well, the main thing that I think stand out about X is that you'll forget that he X so down to earth and was so much like everybody else did that I literally would lose sight of the fact sometimes that I'm sitting down and I'm eating with DMX. Like, he didn't you lose that awe effect with X because he was just that real of a nigga. That's the main thing I stood out with. You know what I mean? All the way down to how he dress and how he eat. He was in the New York car. So by him being in the New York car, this was on Gilmer. And this is back in 2000. I was at Gilmer from like 17, 18. And and he was in the New York car and I'm in the blood car. And most of the blood car is New York dudes. So we pretty much moved together. And we sat at the same table in the chow hall and we had the same table outside on the yard. So I used to sit down and eat with DMX, you know what I mean? But he literally was eating inside the chow hall. He walked around with nothing but the Fed clothes on. He always had on the brown shirt with the tan pants and the boots. You know what I mean? He acted like a regular nigga.
How did people treat him for most part? Mind you normally have guys where very few times you actually listen to their music in the free world, and X was one of those guys who was like the second coming of Pac, where people knew his lyrics were, people knew his lyrics word for word, especially on the East Coast. How did other inmates treat him as far as him being, I'm not even saying a celebrity, but more so just being, a poet, a rapper, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I can say this. Well, it's two sides to this. We got the sides to how the administration came out, and then you had the sides to, how the inmates came with him. As far as like the administration, they opened up avenues for him. They acknowledge his celebrity in a way that I never seen before. Like they allowed him to throw a concert inside the gym. That he had material that he had wrote inside the cell since he was dead, and he was able to go throw a little concert inside the gym where he was able to perform that shit. Then he had times like he allowed for three different dudes, one dude from Chicago, one from Philly, one from Southwest DC. He allowed them to throw like a little concert for him inside this little small room where he allowed each one of them with the band and everything to go through their little catalog while he sit there and just listen to them. And the administration facilitated this. They allowed this to take place. You know what I mean? So so that's at least how they carry with him. And then when it comes to the inmates, he lost his star. I'm not gonna say he lost his stardom, but like he was just that real with it that like you'll forget Ja. Like now you had some dudes that was like fans. He was selling pictures and shit. You could take a picture with him and he'll sell them, you got to buy it and shit. You had a bunch of dudes signing up doing shit like that too. So I guess to some dudes they was fans of him, but for the most part, he wasn't even, I don't even think he respected that shit. He just wanted to be treated like a normal inmate.
Yeah, so he wanted to dumb down his that people looking at him like, oh, you the rapper, you the big multi-platinum selling rapper.
Yeah, but he had to verbalize that just the way he cared. You wouldn't, you know what I mean? You just another inmate.
Yeah. Wait, I'm curious. What would a DMX picture go for back then? Do you remember the price of it?
Man, that shit was crazy. You got DMX he started off selling them for 10 books. 10 books was like $25. You dig what I'm saying? Then he got to the point where it was 8 books, then 6 books. You know what I mean? DMX was I don't know why he was doing that shit, but that's what he was on, right? Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. Shout out X, man. That right there is in itself, situational. You said, hold on, wait. You said you actually sat down and ate with him?
Or I used to sit down. Nah, I eat with him. We used to have homie day with him on Sundays, I believe it was. It was either Saturday or Sunday. I think it was Sundays and shit. We used to have homie day with him and shit too. Go out there, play basketball, play football. Everybody bring their food out there. There don't be nothing but the Bloods in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, little tri-state cop. We used to go out there and rock the. Yeah, he'd be out there playing football with boots on and shit, the Fed boots on and shit.
Damn, man, nigga stay in some damn boots, huh? All right, yeah.
Yeah.
You also did time with Southwest T, man. Yeah. He was on. Was this on the same yard in this same situation?
This was on the same yard. This was on the same. Now Southwest T was a different situation. Like you never forgot his celebrity status. Like, and it was crazy because X was going around chasing Southwest T to be in the picture. He wanted to picture with Southwest T. You know what I mean? Like Southwest T was the celebrity on the yacht.
Now,
Yeah.
yeah. As far as the interactions with him, with the guards and the inmates, how did the guards treat Southwest?
I ain't really sure because he wasn't in my car, so I didn't have as much access to him as I did with X. But the only access I really had with him was I had a ticket. At one time I was running on the yard. He used to play my ticket. And he had it set up where like he wouldn't even play your ticket unless you take the limits off. You know what I'm saying? We normally leave like a 2 book or a 3 book limit on certain bets. You had to take all limits off for him to play your shit. That's the only real interaction I was having with him. My celly from Detroit, and goddamn, they had a little bond and shit. So I tried like through that too. But inmates treat them like man, they like a star. You know what I'm saying? Like he walked around and he walked mob. You know they was mobbed up, and he just constantly had attention on them. But yeah, that's how. Yeah, he was walking around like a star.
Yeah, let me ask you, the BMF aura, or the BMF, publicity. Does it follow someone like Southwest T inside does it follow him as far as they know this is BMF, you just not to be fucked with? I mean, of course, his brother.
He ain't gone to that type of respect, but I don't think that he was after that type of respect. Like everybody knew he was BMF from the administration on down. Like I say, he it was celebrity status with him. Everybody knew who he was. But he ain't pushed none of that shit. He wasn't on that shit. He was on Detroit time. He wasn't pushing nothing big in life. He wasn't pushing none of that shit. He had one homeboy he pretty much chilled with most of the time inside the barbershop and shit. And he'll come out every once in a while. And he be telling little stories and shit. He got an audience around him and shit. But for the most part, yeah, he wasn't a BMF. I don't even think that really was coming up. He wasn't talking about that shit too much.
Yeah, it's interesting. His brother Big Meech, of course he's out, he's free. He's streaming now. I think they just reunited after like 20 years, since the whole situation. How often do they allow brothers or family members to be in the same yard, if not even the same cell? Like, does that happen often as far as when they know people are family dealing with the same case? Do they normally separate them or keep them together?
Damn, that's a good question. I don't know because I never been on the yard in the phase where I don't think I never been on the yard with true siblings that was on the yard before, so I don't know if they permitted or not. I don't know why they wouldn't. I don't think the foot phase wouldn't allow you to unless y'all co-defendants. But other than that, I think they will allow it. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Also, you was there with a Pistol Peace co-defendant, Mac 11. For those that know.
I was on 2 yards. We're in the same car. I was on 2 yards, so I know him very well. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So y'all in the same car.
Yeah.
For him, as far as, again, you have these high profile cases, high profile situations.
Yeah.
The treatment on him, or as far as, is there any aura on that as far as guards, inmates?
I'm saying for Slim, he been down forever. And he been on count forever. So he got a certain level of and because of that case, he got a certain type of aura with the love homies and with the groupie homies and shit. He got a lot of groupies. I give him that. You know what I mean? He got a lot of groupies and shit. But administration, I don't think they treat him no different than anybody else. He just, you know what I mean? Like with him, as far as that, you know what I mean, he's still in there. He's still in there. He's still doing time and shit. So, you know what I mean? I don't know how the administration view him. You know what I mean? He been on a lot of yards. He be moving around. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And remind us, what year did you go in?
I entered. Well, I actually hit the BOP. I actually hit the BOP in 2017, the beginning of 17, but I failed in 14 on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, whenever you're in there, and guys that's been there, whether since the 90s or even go back to the 80s, can you tell just from, being there and interacting with those guys that time is still on them as far as they came in the 80s, 90s? Like, you came in while technology is kind of, up in advance on the outside. Can you tell a person who's been in there, he's been in here since, early
Nah,
90s or
look,
something?
nah. See, that's interesting. You say that because you gotta remember, I went in. That's when I went in on my second bid, but I was only home for 4 months. So I had went in initially in 2000. So I was that dude. You know what I'm saying? I was the dude that was in there as the new flux of inmates would come in. I'm constantly whatever celly I had. They usually younger, usually fresh. They're down shorter time than me. I'm the one in there picking their brain about what is this internet and how it work. What is an app? App trying to get them to explain to me what social media is, what Facebook is, what is that? What is these apps and not like I ain't understand none of that shit. You know what I mean? So I was that dude.
Yeah, no, that's real. Who was probably the oldest inmate you seen in there? How old do you think he was?
About 95, 96.
Damn. How
Yeah,
was
he
his
passed. He passed on COVID.
how was his health leading up to that? Just being that old in there.
I mean, he man, his you'll see the old man, he trying to work out. He be doing a little, he was actually trying to stay healthy, but he had a lot of health complications that just came with age. But he was trying to stay healthy. But he was one of the ones that when COVID hit, you know what I mean? Everybody, everybody caught COVID. Inside that, I mean, everybody, you may got 2% of the people did not catch COVID. So he was one of the ones that passed on the first wave, man.
Yeah, I'm sure it had to go through everyone. Like, all right, you either beat it or were they trying to help y'all in there when the COVID situation came? Were they trying to help?
Man, hell nah, man. Like I was in Coleman when Coleman hit. I mean when COVID hit. So I was God fortunate to be on the spot in the Southeast region. I feel sorry for those who wasn't down there, but even down there, you know what I mean, they locked us in ourselves. We strapped in ourselves, and I'm talking about in inhumane conditions the way they had us inside themselves, the way I see it. And
With no
goddamn
with no medicine, no nothing to comfort you. No, just
nah,
are
they
they
would
doing
come
are they doing
by.
anything? Yeah.
Yeah, they'll come by, what was it? I think they'll come by, they was coming by every morning. They'll lock us in the cell and they'll come by every morning and they'll come and check our temperature. And based upon your temperature, if your temperature reach a certain degree, then you went out on the next wave. They were sending out waves of people. So you lock beside the cell with your celly, so you'll just see Wednesday come up and they coming through and they pulling out a wave of people based upon them failing that test. It'd be 20 dudes leaving the pod. Boom, they sending them over to a quarantine pod. And they lock beside the cell with the quarantine over there for your 21 days and they bring you back. I think that's pretty much what yeah, that's how they were doing. You know what I mean? One no medications, nothing that I can see. You know what I mean?
Did did people ever discuss their mortality in there? Like anybody ever be like, I'm gonna die in here? Like, do they have like, sense of not never getting out and actually spending their last breath in prison? Do they talk about it?
Yeah, see, you got two different type of inmates in that regard to me. You got the ones that had an understanding, and you can tell they do, and that's that's sad to hear. When they talking to you, but I think even sadder is the other category of people that you got is the ones that you look at their release date and see that it say 2068, and he's telling you he's having a conversation with you about what he's gonna be doing when he get out, what kind of car he's gonna be driving, and this and that. And he's still in his mind, you could tell he's not in reality with that shit. And with those type of people, you can't wake them up. Like I learned that the harder ways when I was younger. Like you gotta kind of leave them in that, you know what I mean? And that's even sadder.
So man, I mean, they say there's two kind of people: the people who dream of the outside or think of the outside world, and those who only focus on the inside world. Like the outside world does not exist to them unless it's about getting some kind of money or some kind of play. Their empire is on the inside. There's which one would you say you were? Were you a person who thought about the outside a lot, or your whole world was what was going on inside?
During my first bid in the space system as a young man, I thought about the streets a lot, but that's because I did 8 of those years in segregation. I ain't had enough but time. But during my second bid, man, the world, I could care less about what was happening on the streets for real. It was unless, they was holding my cash at. You know what I mean? I was focused on trying to goddamn come home with as much money as I could so I would never have to commit a crime again on the streets. You know what I mean? I wasn't focused on the streets.
Yeah. I remember your last interview, you said something that kind of resonated, man. You said there is a possibility to run out of thoughts. Like you can run out of shit to remember. You can run out of the stories you tell in your head.
Very all right, man. Like literally run out of things that you could think about, man. Like I would let me see if I can create the environment a little bit. Like um you inside a cell that's probably about the size of a bathroom. And there's nothing inside there but concrete walls, concrete floor, a metal bed with a little thin mat, and you got a metal table that's attached to the wall. Then you got a metal toilet. That's what you got inside there. And they was not allowing us but to order 2 books from the library every 2 weeks. Books that got 150 pages, 250 pages in it. So you're gonna run through that in one day. Now you just left where you got to try to make it some way to occupy your time. They leave the bright light on from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. and they got this humming sound to it that you don't really recognize, probably for the first few months that you in there, it don't really bother. And and you got to figure out how to kill this time all day, every day, with just this going on. Now, at the same time, you got people inside your vent. You just praying that you don't get one of these in the cell next to you or beneath you. You got 4 cells, the 2 cells next to each other, and the 2 cells above or beneath. That's all connected to the same vent. So you got people that's really, that went crazy, and they spend their whole time on the vent at all hours of the day, just yelling nonsense all through the vent. You got people that just yelling out the side of their door, having full conversations with nobody for 10, 15, 18 hours straight. People banging on this. This is what you got going on all around you, and you inside this cell. I spent maybe 18, 20 hours a day just laid in the bed, like I was saying before, to the point where I was getting raw spots on my hips. And they not feeding you. I'm watching my weight deteriorate to the point that I can grab my rib cage when I'm laying on my back on the bed. I can just grab my rib cage and feel them. You just watching your weight drop down. All of this going on. But none of that was comparing to the mental stress, like I was telling you, where you have nothing to occupy your mind. The walls is all white, so everything is sterile. There's nothing even to give you mental stimulation from colors that's going on around you. There's no stimulation. So I would, you daydream. You go back, I'm reminiscing about the past, I'm fantasizing about things I could have done different, just thinking about things I ain't never thought about before. Every category thought that you could think of in your past. And then I start projecting it to the future. I'm everywhere with it, man, to the point that I would literally lay there some days and just be blank because I'm tired. Like whatever thought I would reach for, I already been down that road so many times that it was like rereading a book that you done read 1,000 times. Even with my thoughts, it was just nothing new to add on to them. There's nothing going on. You know what I mean? So I would just sit there and literally, it's crazy, man. It's like you edited what thought. It's like now I'm trying to decide what train of thought to jump on. I'm analyzing my own thoughts because all of them bore the shit out of me now. And I'm just sitting here, you suck.
Yeah, no, that's as vivid of a picture you could paint, man. All right, I do want to ask you in regards to, last time we spoke on the racism that's going on, man, as far as CEOs, man, the hillbilly nature that they got out there. Can you go a little further into what that is? Because again, a lot of people that we spoke to is TDC, where, it's down south, but you're on the East Coast. So it's, mind you, we just celebrated 250 years of this place they call America, of day independence. Mind you, we just about 100 so years off from our freedom.
We ain't never even got free. Man.
We ain't even free. You know what I'm saying? So how did they look at back in Mesa in regards? And was it even like the darker your skin, the more they treated you like they gonna treat you?
Nah, it was more like this, right? Like I had I don't think you can be black in America and don't have some type of sense of, what our predicament is, or at least historically what our predicament has been inside this country. So I had chances to, read all about my history. I had some type of familiarity with our history. But when I went there, I'm being confronted with this live and living color in a way that I never had been before. And they being confronted with people like me for the first time. That prison opened up in '98 and I got there in '02. So um, it's still we fresh to them and they fresh to us. And the only ones that you could tell that was slightly different was whoever, if any of them ever were left and went to the military for a while, or if any went off to college, was fortunate enough to go off to college and he came back. They had a different mind state than the ones who've been stuck in the Appalachian Mountains forever. And it was just naked racism. It was just, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing and what I was experiencing what I was witnessing while I was there. Yeah.
Yeah. If you can say, what was probably one of the worst things you've seen them do, or just blatant racism? I mean, I know they called you all kind of names and said they were going to break you. Outside of that, what would you say you've seen them do on a regular? Whether tampering, what'd you see?
Listen, man, I seen a lot, man. They look, they got their go-tos off the gate. The go-tos off the gate. They're just normal by course. They bucking on people's showers. They bucking on you being able to go to outside rec just at will. You know what I mean? Then it's usually two different crews that's working, two different shifts that work. And there's always one that's a lot. Just like they put all the assholes together. And then you got the other crew. And what you will notice amongst them is that you may always have one or two who not really with that shit, but they never gonna intervene and they know how to keep their mouth closed so the other ones could just do what they do. So they go-to is, running in that cell, whooping your ass, putting you in them ambulatory restraints, leaving you naked. That's number one go-to. Next go-to is putting you down on what they call 5-point restraints, where they strip you naked and lay you on just a metal bump, where they strip you of your arms, your legs, put the belt around your torso, and they'll leave you like that for days. Come through, just pepper spray you in your genitals, pepper spray your face, and it just leave you like that for days. And all those coming with beatings. That's a fact. But man, the worst things is usually probably worse to hear it than to see it. Like I can hear them messing with dudes, in the cells beneath me, on the cells next door, where they one time I know they had grabbed a dude by his dreads and they just kept slamming his face into the ground while they just yelled nigger, nigger, nigger over and over, slamming his face into the ground. You know what I mean? I done, man, a million of. Oh, all right, look, this one of the jumps where I knew, where when I finally understood where I was at, is they finally put me into the segregation part that I was gonna have to do at least a year in when I first got there. And I remember it was an older guy from DC, man, older guy. He had to be in like his 60s. And he used to stay on the door and he'll be very disrespectful. I get him that. He yelling all out the door at the police, you know what I mean, about whatever it is that he's not getting that he feels that he deserves. So you would literally have inmates that was coming to the door, warning him on the door like to fall back, to chill out. He don't know what he's doing. He need to just leave that shit alone. And by me being new there, I'm thinking like, chill out. The man wanted his phone call, or he wanted his shower, or whatever it is. And I couldn't understand why another black man would be telling another black man to chill out. But I understand. I'm about to tell you why I started learning to understand. So while he doing this, I go back to press the bunk. Everybody press the bunk. They're acting like the old guy not listening. So everybody get quiet. I go lay down in my bunk. And then I hear a cell door open. You can hear the mechanical door open. And that's a big event, man, just to hear the door open. So I hear the door open. I come to the door like everybody else. And you can hear the sound of the shackles hitting the concrete. That's another sound that you just get conditioned to, because whenever they open up the door after they handcuff you, you get conditioned to just drop to your knees so they can put the shackles on your leg. So that's the shackles that I'm hearing that's going on whoever leg that they finna take out his head. So now I'm hearing the shackles, shackles. So he finally started to come out where I can see who it is, and it's the older DC guy. And he got an officer on the right arm, officer on the left arm, the way that they escort us when they walking us anyway. So somebody on the door yelled and asked him, OG, where you going? And he was like, I'm finna go to work. You going to work? You going? And they like, man, we don't got no work today, man. Ain't no work. And he's like, huh? They're like, ain't no work today. And by then, he kind of catch on to what's happening. And I watched the two officers lift him off his feet and walk him the rest of the way. Outside the doors is supposed to be right. At this point, he's not visible to us. We can't see nothing that going on outside that door. He came back in. I mean, they had only been out there for 15 seconds. Brought him right back in. When he came back in, man, it was so much blood coming from this man's face, going all down his body and shit. And what we had discovered was that they had took him outside. As soon as they took him outside, one of them put their feet on the chain between his legs on the shackle, and the other one grabbed him by the back of his head and just jumped, slammed his face into the ground. And they put that old man inside the cell, and then the nurses do what they always do, because everybody on that compound in on it. Everybody. So the nurses come through, and that's their job. Whenever they're gonna charge him with assault on the officer, and then the nurse got to come through to make sure there ain't no injuries, and they'll come through and sign off that ain't nothing wrong with him, everything is straight. This guy needs stitches, his face split all open, he just down there leaking, man. You know what I mean? That's just the normal shit that happens.
Damn, no antibiotics, no none. Just let him heal on his own. Shit.
Yeah, you got to figure it out.
Yeah, I'm still stuck on you saying they pepper spray your genitals. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, I've been through that.
Damn.
I've been on 5-point strengths 2 or 3 times. I've been in ambulatory strengths more times than I can count. Yeah.
All right. Well, if you don't mind, I want you to talk more about the first Fed spot you went to, and when you first learned about the car system and how that worked and how you acclimated yourself inside of it.
Well, you gotta understand, like by me, I told you at that point I consider myself still a job institutionalized. I just did 13 years, been on the streets 4 months. Now I'm coming from jail. I've been in 5 different jails over the 3 years that I was fighting my case. So to me, all right, I'm going to prison. All right, I'm going to the Fed. I know it's the Feds, it's supposed to be different, but it was completely different. So the first spot they take you to is to Oklahoma City. You got to go over to the holdover in Oklahoma City. So just the experience of getting on a plane, that's the first time I've ever been on a plane in my life. And my life was, when I'm handcuffed and shackled in the Feds. And they taking me over to Oklahoma City. When you get over to Oklahoma City, I was one of the guys, the first time they took me through Grady County. I jumped on a bus and they took me through Grady County. But throughout all this process, just the whole situation from the beginning, I could see was a completely different feel for how I was in the state. Just the level of respect that even the officers and the U.S. Marshals, just that they give, the guys that's locked up, to the food, to just everything was different about them. So by the time I get to Gilman, when I get to my first spot, now before I even get there, I got to tell you about OKC because this ended up being a part of my future and what I seen. The first thing I noticed there also was in every unit that I go in OKC and the holdover, is always going to be 1 or 2 guys who get in the bag. You dig what I'm saying? And I was always curious about how the hell can somebody be getting the bag inside these spots? You know what I mean? And so that's just a mental note because I'm gonna get around to that. But I end up going to Gilman. So when I get to Gilman, they was on lockdown the first night. When we show up, the whole compound on lockdown for some attack that took place on the yard. So they take me immediately to my cell, and that's when I go in the cell with the Detroit guy that I was telling you that's friends from Southwest T. And immediately just going inside the cell, you gonna see the big difference. You know what I mean? They had porcelain. It was porcelain sinks, porcelain toilet. The sink and toilet separated from each other. The cell huge, goddamn, like it was just a whole different feel from what I was used to in the state. just showing up at giving. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so again, once you get that feel, it provides you a car. Did you understand what the car was? And for those that don't,
I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
I ain't understand. I mean, you had dudes that was already trying to explain to me how these cars and shit work, but I ain't really get it to the next day. The next day when when I go to breakfast. Next day the doors open up. I go out to breakfast and matter of fact, I skip breakfast. I don't go to breakfast. I go to lunch. And when I go to lunch, the guys, I got to figure out what table I'm gonna sit at that point right there, every car got they table. So that's at that yard. That's pretty much how you committing to what car that you're gonna be in is what table you sit at. So I knew of a few Virginia guys that was there, so I immediately went and sat at the Virginia table. And the guys that didn't actually know me, actually, where you from? And I was already trained, to let them know that I wasn't, I'm blood. So I let them off the gate. I'm from Virginia, but I'm blood. So they let me know immediately where the blood table at. So that's how I ended up knowing, where my car was at, how to locate my car. So once I get over there to the table with the car and introduce myself and I sit down, they're immediately making known, at least the way this yard was ran, pretty much everybody pretty much ignored me. I'm the new dude. I don't got no paperwork. You know what I mean? I just introduced myself. They want to know where I'm coming from. And that was it. It was pretty much, I was ignored from that point on. Made sure that I came out to the yard and I get back to the after child, out there on the yard and shit. So that's how I got to meet my car and shit.
Now, once you, of course, got acclimated, you became, a dope dealer while you was in there, man. How does one sell dope in prison? Like, how does one sell drugs?
Well, let me say before on this spot, this is I'm learning all this shit. So when my car, which was what I learned to be unique, but it's my first fed spot, so I didn't recognize how unique it was. But my car, the average age of the person in my car was probably 40 to 50. The average age of my car was probably 40 to 50, and my car we probably stayed at least 50 to 60 strong the whole time that I was there. So most of these guys are guys that had already been down for 20 years, 15 years, all throughout the federal system. So they was already vets to how everything moving in there. So by me only knowing about the state, I don't know about the feds. This is a whole new system for me. I'm learning from interacting with these guys about how all this is going to start coming about. So, dudes get money inside there. I mean, it's all kind of ways to get money inside there. When I was on that yard, the first lane that I went into was poker and Sebastian strips. And I had a store too. I had a little store too. I was running a store too. Those were the first hustles that I took to while I was there. But I was learning. My whole car was just a get money car. For my introduction to the feds from being introduced with that car on that yard was get money. That's what everybody was on. You know what I'm saying? That's the big difference between the feds to me in the state is you can get to that bag and dudes getting to that bag.
Yeah, what was the easiest spot you was in to get to the money? Like which spot were you in?
I mean, you got to define easy.
Like when I say easy, I mean not easy, just more so getting the most money. Like where'd you become the most lucrative?
For me, it was Beckley. You know what I mean? Beckley for sure, because they set up the environment for the police set up the administration set up an environment for they this one of them racist jobs again. That's in the mountains in West Virginia. And it got the same type of mentality as the officers at Red Onion. Same mentality the officers at Wallace Ridge. That's why I was telling your viewers the last time that if anybody had been locked up anywhere in the rural area in Texas, where those type of chewing tobacco racist people was working there, they know what I'm talking about already because I'm starting to see that it seemed like it's a universal thing with these people there. But so up there, they created an environment where they were so trying to stop the dupes and everything from coming into the jail that they was taking extra steps that other yards just don't take. And by them securing it so much that they made it so hard for people to get it in, it increased the value of everything, man. Tenfold, tenfold. You know what I
You know,
mean? So on other yards where you might have a particular thing that's selling for $200, $150, that same item on that yard sell for 25.
dang. Yes, the average salary that a CEO makes is, they say, around between 55, 57,000. 48,000 on the low end, 65, 68,000 on the high end. Do you feel inmates were making more than the CEOs while they was in there?
Hell yeah. Hey, what? You say 40, 50,000? I'm
A year, yeah.
saying, yeah, man. Um, I seen dudes make more on that. I've made more than 50,000 in 1 month running a poker game. You know what I mean? In a month.
Oh man, speak on that, man.
Yeah.
You was running the tickets in there, man. How was that as far as running the tickets, and how did the rules play on that?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, man, that was my most unsuccessful hustle. Was running the ticket. Um, I just had a few extra dollars and shit. So, like I said, that was on my first spot. So that was my first main hustle that I tried to get into. Because I had a few dollars when I went in there. I didn't feel the need to really jump into the drug game or anything initially. So I tried to get in on to running the ticket. So I went around, and my strategy was, it was like five major tickets that was already on the yard. And I went around and collected all of their tickets. And I would look at what their odds was. And I named my ticket best odds. And I made sure that everything that I had, my odds was one better than every other ticket that was on the yard. So, and I guarantee it. So if any of them was to raise the odds, and you were able to show me that when you played that bet on my jump, that somebody else got a better odd, I match it by one. So that brought in my traffic immediately. Like, I started getting all the money in, all the plays that was on me, but I had the guys from the other tickets who had books for days, they started shooting at me. You know what I mean? They felt like that, they ain't really respect the way that I was coming from the way that I did it. And all of them started shooting at me at the same time. And their job was successful, man. I had that ticket up for about 2 months, man. It was costing me too much money, man. They were popping the shit out of me, man.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right,
but it allowed me to it set the foundation for how I would begin to run my operations. Though that was the first hustle that I had, that I literally had to run operation. I had to have runners in every pod. I had to have a main runner that dealt with the runners in every pod. I had to have the man that I had to pay that make the printouts, that print out everything for me. He charged me your arm and a leg. Like, it was so many people that was getting paid and had to be employed off this. That set the foundation for how I would do anything from in the future, whether I'm selling wine, and no matter what I was doing. I used that same red print where I set it up where a lot of people was employed. And in my mind, I was a small business, and I was employing people. That's how I looked at it.
yeah, yeah. Let me ask you, being a blood, what is the difference on gang time between the states and the feds? Like, what's the main differences trying to move on gang time in the penitentiary system?
Well, I'm gonna say this because I'm still in contact with some of my homies that's on state time now, and a lot of what I'm telling y'all about my state seems to be outdated from the things that I'm hearing. Because as far as Damu go in my state, like, it's it ain't what it used to be for what I'm hearing. Everybody drug addicts, and it's just it ain't got none of the core value systems that people from my generation was pushing on. Inside the feds, it really just depends on the yard again. It depends on the yard. When anywhere in the Mid Atlantic region that I was at, it's organized, it's militant, and it's about that bad. You know what I mean? And yeah, but when I go to like the Southeast region or whatever, like, really ain't no blood clot. You know what I mean? That shit. Yeah.
I did, if you don't mind, I'd like for you to, tell us, or speak on, how'd you beat the infamous dry cell situation, man, after choking on choking on a balloon during a visit.
Well, look, I'm gonna tell you
explain. Yeah, walk us through it.
All right, look. All right, so the whole time, well, one of the time, this around Super Bowl too. This around Super Bowl because that's when I went back there. I went back there on Super Bowl day. When Philly was playing Kansas City, motherfucking but they just had it in their mind that I was catching. They had it in mind that every time that I'm going to the visit, that I'm catching down there. So they started taking all kind of extra steps with SIS or whatever, the way that they were trying to go about to see if I'm catching. And the whole time, I'm doing things like SIS would be standing right there and I kiss my woman, sit down or whatever, and I just show them my tongue, stick my tongue out. I ain't doing nothing, but they swear that I'm beating somebody. So this day, I go down there, and it was an unexpected visit. I wasn't even expecting to visit this day. So when I go down there, somebody give me a kiss, I hug her, she give me a kiss, and after she give me a kiss, I sit down. And when I sit down, you know, the balloon was I couldn't. It was during COVID. It was during COVID, so we couldn't get no liquids or no food or nothing like that at the time. So I wasn't even expecting this shit. So it gets stuck in my throat and I can't get it down.
Hold on. So pause right there. When it comes to they were expecting that you were catching plays. Were you catching plays?
I'm saying, yeah, I'll beat the merry chance I can get. I'll beat the merry chance I can get.
Come on now. All right, go ahead. All right, go ahead. All right, the balloon gets stuck.
Yeah, so the balloon gets stuck. It gets stuck in my throat and shit. So when so they got me sitting so close to the booth because they know in their mind they you know what I mean, they trying to catch me. So when I sit down, I'm looking, and when it gets stuck in my throat, I don't want to my facial expression to bad to show. So somebody that was sitting next to me that I know, so I lean to the right, dap him up. He say, "What's up?" Speak to me, but that give me a chance while I'm looking at him to try to swallow. So I'm now that's when I cough it up. I cough it back up. So when I cough it back up, I try to re-swallow, and it gets stuck again. So now I'm sitting here and I can't breathe. I feel like if I was white, I would have definitely turned blue. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. So I'm trying not to panic. And at some point I do panic. All thought leave my mind. I can't even think, man. I just jump up. And now I'm trying to run back to where you come in when you undress, because I know it's a water fountain back there. I don't know. I'm not even thinking. I get up and I power walk back there. And somebody from behind me is yelling for me to stop. I hear them, but I ignore them and I continue to walk. Then they try to run up on me from the front and stop. But at this time, they done hit the deuces. They wrestling with me. Everybody trying to figure out, and I'm choking. I'm talking about tears coming down my eyes. And throughout all the commotion, I finally get it down. So when I get it down, they now I have to speak. So now I got, tears all in my eyes, and they asking me what was it? And I'm telling them, man, it wasn't shit. You know what I mean? It wasn't nothing. Wasn't nothing. So they obviously don't believe me, so they run me through the X-ray machine. Then they take me to the dry set. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hold on. So when they run you to the X-ray machine, do they see the balloon?
Nah, they can't see shit in that junk. If you suitcase anything, you swallow it. And that shit don't. All it can see is nothing. You don't see shit.
Yeah. Hold on. What is the dry cell? What is that?
It's this little cell they put you in, man. Where it's not. It's like a metal bunk. It's just a metal bed that be in the middle of this empty shell. Nothing else is inside the shell. And then they got a camera that they keep up in the corner so they can observe you at all times. And then they right here at the front door. The front door is nothing but glass. And they treat you like you're on suicide watch, where it's an officer that sits there 24 hours, 24/7. He just got to sit there and watch you. I mean, his face stay right here on the glass. Just a blink, and they just watch you. And you naked with just a turtle suit on. And you got to keep your hands out the turtle suit. And you got to stay in there for 72 hours and give them you got to use the bathroom 3 times. And to use the bathroom there, they got to get the lieutenant every time that you gotta do number 2. and the lieutenant got to come inside there, and they handcuff him to the front and or the back, depending on who it is, and they got a pan, and they make you squat, and they got to watch you shit into the pan. And after you finish doing that, the lieutenant put gloves on, he take it back, and he got to go through it to see that if anything came out of you that wasn't supposed to be there. Anytime you need to urinate, you got to get the officer attention that's at the front. And he pass you a bottle. You have to stand facing them and pee inside the bottle so that they can see it. Any trays that come in there, it's the only thing that's gonna ever enter the cell is a tray, and there'll be a styrofoam tray. Once you eat, everything got to go back, and you got to give it back to them for them to dispose of. So that's a dry cell where they keep you totally contained, and they just trying to get you to whatever it is they think that you have. They're trying to catch it inside your feces.
Now, normally, and again, this is for, I'm assuming you got a situation where that balloon, you're able to swallow it. Technically, how long does it take for that to run through your system? And what is the play? Like, if let's say outside of this situation, if you do
you'll learn anybody. I mean, it's gonna take. Yeah, I assume everybody's system is different, maybe, but 3 days, man. 3 days like clockwork. You know what I'm saying? 3 days like clockwork. But you got some guys who they can stick their hand down their throat or use shampoo or liquid. They got different little methods they use to make themselves throw it up immediately. But that shit never worked for me, man. So I got to wait till I use the bathroom. That shit take 3 days.
All right, y'all, if you don't mind, talk to us about your first week at Buckley FCI, man. As far as that, it's rock and roll over there, man. As far as, just the riots, everything that go down. And as you speak on, I want you to tell us, there's a story about you getting caught with a knife yourself, man. And how did that all play out?
Well, Beckley probably that yard stands alone for at least the spots that I've been at when I was in the Fed. Beckley is it's an FCI, but it's ran identical to a pen. And most dudes who've been on any pens, they go to Beckley and tell you that Beckley was just 10 times worse than most pens, man. Like Beckley was different. So when I get there, I'm just leaving. We still quarantined for COVID. So I had to remain inside the cell for the first 21 days, like everybody else when you first get there. But the cell that they put me in, I'm able to see the boulevard. I'm able to see where the inmates leave from out of their units as they walk to go wherever it is that they need to go to. So while I'm in the window looking, man, I'm talking about the first day. I mean, listen, man, the first day, the first thing I notice is when the movements is going on, I can see all my homies and shit. So all the homies know I'm here. The presence is being made or whatever. People come to the window. I already been in contact with everybody through the vents. So you got that love going on. But I'm watching, and I saw a scenario where, two guys walking and another guy's walking. And all I remember is it got active right there on the boulevard. You see the 2-on-1 immediately going down. And then I just remember seeing somebody after it went down and the guy on the ground, you see somebody else talk something to somebody. He run off with it. And then they, the deuces hit. CO's running out there to go see what's going on. When they get over there, nothing left there but the victim. And then after they clear the yard off, you see them looking all the way. They looking around, I guess, for a weapon or whatever they're looking for, and they looking. And they never found what they were looking for. And yeah, that's so now I'm understanding that was just like the first or the second day that I was there. Then while I'm back there in them 3 weeks that I was back there, they stay on lockdown a lot. So I think for the rest of the time they was on lockdown until like the last 3 days before I go upstairs out of quarantine. Now while I'm up there, man, I ain't there on my second day, or was it the first or second day? They take us all the new recruits. We gotta go to Laundry. While I'm in Laundry, it's somebody that came with me that was on the plane with me that I knew this was gonna happen to him though. I knew this was gonna happen to him, a homie, man, who just came all the way incorrect. But man, I'm talking about we going up the Laundry, and I just remember somebody that I got to know. They gave me a nod, and the guy that was with me that came up here with me, he's standing next to him. And he immediately trying to speak to me like, hey, man, I need you to talk to these. And I was like, whoa, give me a minute. Because I could feel the energy. I could feel the energy just between the two men. So I'm not getting involved with some dude I just met. And I know dude ain't right. So I just keep moving and go inside the laundry room. Then I said it was about to happen. As soon as I go in the laundry room, something tell me to look back, and I look back. And all I know is the dude is walking out, the new dude walking out, and you got a lot just going across my man's head. Ping, ping, 2, 3 times. What let me know it was a different yard though was after he get locked. The people's come over there, they run over there quick, everybody over there, everybody on the ground, they trying to figure out what's what. Everybody got to go back to their unit. We came back out maybe an hour later, and the guy that did it was one of the first ones out there, everybody kicking it and shit. And I'm like, yeah. So that's when I started to see that on this yard, it was not only active, but everybody getting away with this shit. So I just understood that it was a different type of yard.
Definitely. No, in regards to that, hold on 1 second. In regards to that, as far as
everything that you talking about with the blicky, when I got too off with the blicky.
Yeah.
Motherfucking anybody that was there during that time, they know about this Theo named Harvest, man. It's a Theo named Harvest, man. This is he a dog. I ain't never been nowhere with no officer like this in the whole 24 years that I worked. I'm talking about he want to be a detective. He should have been a detective. This nigga like Monk or something. You know what I mean? So he just, whenever you hear that Heartless is working your unit, you can just guarantee that the hole is about to get filled up with dudes from out of your unit. Period. He gonna sniff out anything that you got going on, man. If you sell any dope, you got any knives, anything going on, man, he gonna hit you. Just the word. And when I see while I'm there that he's no joke, when he get over there, people wasn't exaggerating. He tearing everybody off. Everybody move different while Hall is working. You will see everybody just sitting in the middle of the pod who never did. Everybody out here in the middle of the pod just sitting still, just trying not to be noticed by this dude. And but I'm somebody who had to keep the blicky on. So I took a habit from me that I took from the state that I'm not so sure. I don't think they was on it. You know, at least when I yard, them dudes weren't hip to how I was doing it. But I used to keep it I used to keep my knife head between my butt cheeks. You know what I'm saying? Whenever Heartless was working. You know what I'm saying? Whenever Heartless working, rather than me going without that joke, that's where I would keep it at. Because he at some point got hip where he believed that I was selling dope. So he would spend a lot of time targeting me, period. He gonna hit my cell once a week. He gonna shake me down once a week, just at will. He gonna pull me over to the side and he wanna pat me down and shit. So I had that was the way that I got to keep it on. And I would beat all the pat downs every time I need to do it. At some point, one of the times he go to pat me down, he started to show interest in my shoe. And that gave me a mental note because that was one of my little stash spots for little pieces of shit that I used to keep will be in my shoe. And he never had it there before, and only one person I know that my shit be right there. So, but I can't 100% say he the one that sit him there at first. So on my mind, I'm like, what the hell? But he can't find what he's looking for. He all in my shoe, but he can't find nothing. Get away with that pat down. So when I think I get away with that pat down. But he telling me in my ear the whole time that I got you this time. I got you. And I'm just my hand on the wall, like, look, man, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't got shit. I'm still on that. So he like, all right. So I'm thinking he gonna let me just walk off. He already got my cell door locked. So I know he's gonna search my cell like he always do. But I'm thinking that, it's like normal, I'm gonna get to walk off. He hit me with the follow him to the back. Now I know Heartless, once again, is the only officer that I know that does this anywhere that I've been, that just take inmates that's walking on a pod and then make you go into a room so he can strip you naked. I don't even know if that shit is permissible, but this is the one officer that's on that shit. So I know this is what's about to happen. But he's so convinced that he got me this time. And he do. I know I got the knife on him. So I'm like, man, yeah, I mean, I'm nervous as hell. That they gonna give me some more time up here. Like that's a fact. They gonna take me back to court. And so as we walking, everybody in the pod, y'all see what's going on. They know they be fucking with me. They see my cell door closed. They know he always fucking with me. But this even new for them to see him escorting me to the back. So as we walk into the back, I lit the knife. I maneuvered in a way where I let it fall, where it dropped down my pants leg and stopped at the top of my boot. I was wearing some Timbs and shit, so I let it stop at the top of my boot. So it's at the point where at any time I could just kick and I know the knife will flee. But I just got to sit right there at the top of my boot, at the bottom of my pants leg as we walk. So he get on a walkie-talkie to call the officer from the other side to come through the little hallway between the two units to come and assist him, come open up this door and to assist him. So while we're waiting, I got one foot up on the wall. And the way he's standing, he's acting like he's not paying me too much attention. But the more I move, his eye keep cutting on me. So I'm trying to find a way to get this jump just to drop because I understand that as long as they don't find it on me,
Yeah.
I'm good. So I can't do it. He keep looking at me. So while we waiting, and I'm trying to make a joke out of it. So I'm like, damn, Hollis, man, hell, you keep looking at me like that for Hollis. So he like, nah, man, because I think you're a dope boy, and this time I got you. You thought you was slick, but I got you this time. And I was like, I don't know what you talking about, man. Every time you check on me, I don't have nothing. I ain't never had no shot. Like, what is you talking about? So he's like, nah, I got you. So when the officer came to open up the door, their mistake was as soon as he opened the door, I just walked through. Like I walked through first. I already know the closet he about to send me to, so I just walked through first. So when I walked through first, I'm power walking fast as shit. And I'm not looking back. And as I'm doing it, one of them yelled for me to stop. But by the time they yelled for me to stop, I'm already at the closet door that I know they gonna want me to go in. So I just stepped in there right quick. I hear him running, and that gave me just enough time to kick. Got that shit up off. So I stepped back. I'm like, what's up, man? So they're like, nah. So they go inside there and look, and they found something, but this G shit what they found wasn't even mine. They found a blicky back there. So the blicky they found, they held it up, and they was like, oh man. I'm like, I ain't never seen that junk, and they might, you know what I mean? But I knew I was gonna catch a shot. I knew I'm gonna get convicted for it, but they can't take me to street court as long as they don't find it on your person, man. So I was cool.
Yeah, man. I mean, he dodged another one. Dodged another one.
And that was just a compliment. That's the only shot I ever caught the whole time. That whole 11-year bid.
Yeah,
that was different.
There was a CO on your tip that got indicted for flooding the pod, man. What was he on? What was he trying to convey? Was it a power trip? What was it?
Nah, he just he trying to get us some money. You know what I mean? He trying to get us some money. He just didn't know how to go about doing that shit. So I knew from the gate, from the way that this officer was carrying it, I knew he was gonna get. I knew he wasn't gonna last. You know what I mean? Because
what was he doing? And if you were to look at it, how hard was he going? Like what was he actually on?
Anybody that was there doing them years know this, man. And I'm only speaking on it because the man, he done got played out, got his little time or whatever he done did. But he had it to the point where there was a particular date that everybody understood that he bring everything in. And when I tell you everybody, it's probably literally, man, shit, it's a whole, man, I'm saying the pound know, man, everybody know. Everybody know, man. How the fuck everybody know? And he would have the shit come in and it's being dispersed that day. So everybody from the rest of the pound on that day is coming over to this unit because they trying to come cop from everybody who just got the shit. So everybody who ain't supposed to be in this unit on the phones, making calls, everything is going on and all these transactions is going on. The whole unit smell like goddamn bud. You think what I'm saying? It's bud there. Like, ain't even trying to hide it. It just was too much going on. And I would notice the pattern that it was never no more unit managers, wasn't no case managers, wasn't nobody ever doing walkthroughs on the days that he worked. And I knew that I'm just sitting back and watching the whole shit. I knew that shit wasn't going to come out right. But like I suspected, It ain't come out right. You know what I'm saying? The dudes who was fucking with him, you know what I mean, went on the investigation. Officer got towed off. And from what I can see and in my understanding, he kept it funky. He just took his fleet and kept it moving. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, that's that right there. And I'm curious, where do they send officers? Police officers who get indicted. Do they just put them in the normal? Know. Yeah, but I say, do they end up?
Nah, I'm gonna say they got to hit some sweet spot like a camp or a low or some shit. I doubt they're gonna send them to they maybe a FCI, like I tell you again, man, depending on what region, and they might, I don't know. They ain't going to no payers on most FCIs. I don't know where they be at.
Damn. Well,
maybe a round y'all.
Nah, that's real. Speaking of how sweet things got, man, let me know how when you was at Coleman FCI, how sweet was it over there compared to the Beckley and things like that?
Look, man, everybody in the feds. I touched on that a little bit in the first interview about the Southeast region, man. Everybody in my region, the Mid-Atlantic region, it's always understood that the Southeast, everybody trying to get down there. That is sweet. You know what I'm saying? It's sweet. Just you in the South, you got Black and Spanish and white officers that's running it, but we ain't dealing with the racist Appalachian people, man. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of blacks and whites that's not racist that's running these compounds in the Southeast region. So it's a whole different field down there. You know what I mean? But the main thing is it really ain't no violence, man. Ain't no violence down there. Like, so when I got to Coleman, this is Florida. When I got to Coleman, man, the first thing I knew I was on a different yard when everybody knew that whenever you hit a new pound, the first thing they make you do is S&S will come out and address you, and the nurse gonna come out and address you. This is one of the process when you first get to a yard. So while we all sitting out there going through this process, they call a move on the yard, and we can look out the window and see the compound while this move is taking place. It's nighttime, and they call a move. Man, I'm watching this move, and ain't nobody really moving there. The compound got flooded, and everybody just standing outside, kind of just interrupted and just chilling for a while. So we sit back here, and I'm gonna say 30 minutes went by, 40 minutes went by, an hour went by, and they called another move, and it was already 5 inmates that never went nowhere that was on the pound the whole time, and I'd never seen that nowhere. So I already knew that this was going to be a different type yard. So the main differences with that jump, ain't no cars. Nobody don't, individual, like I had my own cell. I bought my own cell. People buy their own irons. They buy their own microwaves. I bought my own poker table outside. Like, ain't no cars. Everything is individual ran down there. And the whole 2.5 years I was down there, I never seen or heard of no type of aggravated assaults. Barely no fights. They don't have a concept of up top. They don't know what up top mean or to be ran up. Paperwork. And you scared to ask for paperwork down there. They gonna write you up the yard. Like that joke, it was just a completely different field. But I chose to go down south. Like I was trying to get away from the madness. Like that was heaven to me to be down there to finally get away. And I had the type of peace that I was able to get down there. They got a casino on the yard. Oh, yeah. They got a literal casino on the yard, man.
Oh man, yeah, that right there let you know.
Yeah, a literal casino. Like that's the only yard I've been on where like you literally you just it's easy to zone in there and do your time, man. Like that was the sweetest yard I've ever been on, man. Money good, everything good. Everything wide open. They don't write no shots. Ain't nobody get written up for nothing. Ain't no beef. No Florida niggas is so chill. You know what I mean? That was the best experience you could have being locked up, is being there.
Did you ever hear about Fort Dix FCI, where Diddy is?
Yeah, that's one of the spots that everybody see. That's a low. That's probably the number one low that you keep hearing. That's the number one low everybody want to get to. They want to get to Fort Dix. And then dudes want to get anywhere in Carolina or anywhere in Florida. But yeah, Fort Dix, yeah. That's sweet. Sweet ass y'all.
Definitely. But Yatta, how we do these.
And he got money.
Oh, and he got money.
So he gonna better live there good. Yeah.
Yeah, he good. As we do these prison stories, we never do these stories to glorify prison at all, man. The goal is to, of course, educate as best we can as far as to make sure the young folks that is out here taking penitentiary chances don't go through what you went through or have to learn how you learned and, become a man the way you became a man. If you don't mind, speaking to those young dudes, again, we're here in the South, even those dudes who move a little faster on the East Coast, what advice could you give them as far as, letting them know things that you lose, having to sit down and serving time, trying to get your bread up?
I mean, the main thing is, look, this is really to get right here. It's like I'm 44 years old, and I'm sitting up here and I'm doing this interview right now where I'm telling y'all stories about prison. And even in some of these stories that I'm telling you, it may come across like I'm glorifying it because, I sadly do take a sense of pride in the fact that I was able to make me some money and I was able to maneuver the way that I was maneuvering that environment. But that is the lesson to this though, is that at 44 years old, that's what I have to show for is a bunch of stories about how I was getting money inside of prison. You dig what I'm saying? So at the same time, that's what I'm hoping y'all also get from this is that I missed out on everything, man. I'm coming out here and I'm having to learn how to do everything all over. I'm just now learning. And I'm having a hard time setting up this phone to get on this interview. I'm just not learning how to do this shit. You dig what I'm saying? And you can never get that time back. When I was in prison, the one thing that I think I took out of there that stick with me is I never once ran into anybody, and definitely not myself. You don't sit inside there missing the new Jordans or the jewelry or these fads. Well, you don't miss none of that. There ain't none of the things that you think about in there. When you inside there, you start to realize that what you miss most is experiences, man. Your freedom. You start to thinking about things that everything that you think about don't have no price tag on it. It's all free. Everything that I miss is free. So that's a lot of y'all that's out there that's chasing this bag. Man, that shit is an illusion. It's an illusion, man, because they gonna take it from you. They gonna take it from you. And then once they take it from you and you in there, you gonna realize that it wasn't never about nothing anyway. Like you not gonna miss it. You gonna miss being able to go sitting on your front porch and open up your refrigerator, use the bathroom, without no company. You know what I mean? So that's the number one thing, man. You know what I mean? I'm constantly having to live with the fact that I was successful with running these. Anybody who know me face on any of the yards I was on, I was getting to that bag. And I was unable to apply myself on the streets that way. It always made me think, what the hell what could I have built if I stayed on the streets and did that shit? You dig what I'm saying? So that's my main thing, man. Y'all need to apply yourselves while y'all out here because ain't nobody giving it to y'all like that, man. When y'all get behind that wall, y'all are buried, bro. Most of y'all who got baby mamas and got mommies and daddies and kids, like, man, you will be surprised how many of y'all gonna find yourselves alone. And a lot of times y'all doing this street shit for them, especially your homeboys. You can just forget that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. No, hey, man. Wise words spoken. Wise words spoken. With that being said, definitely wanted to make sure I thank you. And in this conversation, we talked about a lot. There's a little bit more I want to go through, but I think what I want to let the people know is the next time I have you on, I think we might do a live Q&A. For those
you should, man, because I want to better answer some of these people questions. Y'all don't know too much about the DMV. I'm not 100% sure what it is y'all do want to know, but I know it all. That's what I'm saying. When it come behind that wall, it ain't nobody who can answer it like I can, man. That's a fact.
Nah, definitely, man. People might be fighting cases. People might be already going through it, or they might be out right now. And I definitely want to give them the opportunity to have a back and forth. So we'll probably set that up on the next one to make sure we get talking. But as for this one, have you set up your social medias? Do you have any shout outs you want to give to some people still locked down? Your brothers?
Yeah, as always, I'm gonna shoot out my brother Halisi Uhuru, man, my man Big C, man, who's still behind that wall, man. Jay Homicide just came home. What's popping, man? Man, I want y'all to check out my homie early Plato early man from out of Illinois, man. He got a lot. He just came home real. He got his music thing jumping, man. But that's it, man. My social media, man. Y'all can get me at what is it? Kenyatta Uhuru, my Facebook, and Kenyatta, what is it? Kenyatta.u on Instagram, man. I ain't really got too much going on there, but y'all can reach me that way.
All right, man. With that being said, Yatta, once again, I appreciate you, man. Face, it's always been a pleasure to have you on. I can't wait to do the next one. But with that being said, this is Prison Stories 101. Hey, man, I salute you, bro.
I appreciate you too, homie. You be easy.